what's his name, Ivor or something. I know he got the IP from 3D Realms, and I believe he's developing it independently. But that's the last I heard, and that was months ago. So man, I hope it's still coming. But
hopefully, he's still working on it. I'm glad he was able to keep retain rights to his own IP. It always sucks when publishers just swallow up something and just sit on it forever.
Yeah, it's a shame. No, carry on, Mick.
Y'all mentioned immersive sims, and I'm kind of with y'all that's probably the next wave that's actually going to be interesting, because it's kind of the hardest to just sit there and just hit copy paste for the most part to make the same game. Did y'all get a glimpse of that Peripeteia game that just hit early access recently? Yeah. That was a bit of a filter moment for me, but I was curious if anybody else had
I haven't played it yet
at all and had any opinions.
There's another game too. Is it Fortune's Run? I want to say, is that the name of the title?
Fortune's Run. That is
interesting.
On hiatus.
Unfortunate Run.
A lot of drama around the dev around that, but that looked pretty interesting. I was kind of avoiding it until it was finished, and then I caught wind of all that drama there, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's."
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looked like Star Wars, like a smuggler simulator kind of thing.
It's good.
Had a really meaty demo go out as well. Like it was an hour and a half or something like that. Yeah.
Bro, I downloaded whatever the early access version is, and like I spent 5 hours in the first level alone. Like it's in a good way. Like it's deep. It is deep. But yeah, the drama around that is pretty wild. I would love to get that story from him.
Yeah. I was going to say
the other thing is indie survival horror is like really kicking ass at the moment.
For sure.
Like there's a lot of like PS1, PS2 era indie survival horror games that are coming out. Too many to keep up with. Like I keep seeing screenshots of a lot of them where everyone's doing their take on the Spencer Mansion. There's that screenshot of the room with the staircase, and I'm like, isn't this that game? It's like, no, it's another one that looks like it.
I saw one that games like last week, and I can't remember what it's called, but I saw it on the Xbox store.
Even like Conscript was like one that hit where I was like, oh, this is so unique and cool. And I remember when I was coming out, I was like, oh, I wonder what the thing is. Like, is it zombies? It's like, no, it's just World War I. It's just horrific.
That's horrifying enough.
It's
I met the dev at PAX. PAX in Australia. I met up with him, and I think he was even saying the initial plan was that they were going to be zombies, right? Like that was the twist at some point, was there was like the mustard gas turn people into zombies. I hope I'm not misquoting him or whatever, but then it's like, no, World War II is just that fucked up that is the horror setting. It's just how, like, dude, bludgeoning everyone to death with like shovels is your horror setting.
Yeah.
And that game's like terrifying, man. I don't know if you guys have played it, but spoiler, there's like a bit when you're in like pitch black trenches and a fucking dude in like the Juggernaut armor just comes running at you screaming. When you're like this narrow tunnel and you're like, okay, shit.
Kind of like Celtic with that chainsaw guy.
Yeah, that's definitely my, going back to Game of the Year, I'd say that's probably indie game for me last year. That's definitely one of my favorites, if not Game of the Year pick. Yeah.
That was great. Well, it's like, it's like smaller indies like that, but then like on the AAA side of it, like that Silent Hill 2 remake was phenomenal. And like that's going to inspire more people.
It is woke though. I hate to tell you, but the remake was woke. I'm sorry.
It's way too woke. Way too woke. You know, they made Pyramid Head black.
Absolute trash, man.
Oh, woke.
Yeah, I was saying with Ivor and him getting his IP back, that it's kind of the opposite of, sorry to derail the ImSim conversation, but just to get this train of thought out, that it's the opposite of KillPixel's situation with Wrath, where he essentially had to walk back from his own project, he had to walk away from it. So it is a bit of a shame when things like that happen, but hopefully his next game, which is set on the space station, much like Core Decay, I think, is set in a station as well. Hopefully it'll have some elements of kind of imsimming and you know, boomer shootering and that, because it does look, just from the teaser, it looks really cool.
Yeah, that Deus Ex vibe to it too.
Yeah,
like love it for sure.
But, question for Jim, BioCrysis dev, and Ruby Ranger. You guys have questions for either of them? If you don't know what BioCrysis is, it's a House of the Dead like game. There's the first game, which is kind of like if House of the Dead was on Atari. It's kind of like an Atari style light gun game. And then the second one, which has a demo currently, is a lot like, you know, House of the Dead 1 and 2. And it has a lot of potential, and I think it's a really cool game.
Yeah, I love Bio. I've actually stalked the dev a bit I think I've kind of interacted with him a little bit on Twitter actually about that, because I'm a massive House of the Dead fan. So I saw that and I was like, hang on a second. Yeah. That's a weird niche that no one's really filled in, is actually like a whole rail shooter genre. That's one of my favorite ones too.
It didn't Back 4 Blood fail?
Back 4 Blood's
Back 4
not a
Blood.
rail shooter, but
It did.
good try there,
Yeah,
buddy.
it did fail. Absolutely failed.
But you're right. Back 4 Blood's
No, I mean like
Left
like
for
the
Virtua
wrong
Cop
reason.
and
But
Time
yeah.
Crisis games, like those type of games that's a really fun genre. Like I'm still waiting for Namco to make like a Time Crisis collection or something. I don't understand. I guess no one gives a shit about it but me. But man, those games.
I love Time
I have this thing where it's
Crisis.
like if I'm out and I see a Time Crisis 2 arcade, like anywhere, like I'm like, I got to sit here and play this thing through to completion.
I used to play them
And
all
I
the
saw
time
them-
at Fun Depot. There was
Yeah, I actually saw one on my Bucks night when I got married. We were out with a bunch of people with my Bucks night, and we walked past a bar in this place in Sydney, and they had Time Crisis there, and I was like, I know we got plans to go to wherever, but I have to play this game right now. So
be ready for a
that's
minute.
how, yeah, pretty much beat it in one like credit as well. Still to this day,
Oh, wow.
since a teenager. So
Hell yeah.
I used to live near when I was still down in Los Angeles, I used to live near this barcade that had Time Crisis 2 in it. And there was a guy who would come in and he would quarter up both of them and he would dual wield the whole game. And he was like, he was good though, but he was so performative. He would like holster one and like shoot at the side and like spin him around. But he would you'd watch him just demolish the game. Like it was incredible. That'd probably be my question to these devs. It's like, hey, which one of these old, if you had the chance, which one of these old light gun games would you revive? And, like, would it be Time Crisis? I don't know. Maybe that's my question for them. I love those games too. I'm not good at them, but I love them.
And
I
they're
love light
remaking
gun
House of the
stuff,
Dead
yeah.
too. Actually, they're doing another remake. Which
Yes,
is
saw that.
pretty shit house. Shit House of the Dead. There you go.
Typing
you
of the
don't
Dead,
like the way that
bring
the
that
remake
back.
looks?
No, I will. I because it is really like what a complete like up from the ground remake.
Yeah,
isn't
just
it?
like the
I think they
original,
lost
yeah.
the source code or something. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where like you would just kind of have to remaster it because that original game has so much unintentional charm with the voice acting and the way NPCs talk is so bizarre. They're like, "Oh, thank you for helping me," and it's all this really weird.
Didn't
like
the,
it's made by aliens or something.
Didn't the first House of the Dead remake didn't it have the exact same voice acting? I don't think they got new
I want
voices.
to say, I'm not sure, but I know. Yeah, maybe, but I just know that it. He's laughing at. I know that I
Hey, you said the voice acting for it. I just remember one of your videos, and that guy at the desk who's just like, "Dog, like the it's just so
yeah,
unearthly and
the
inhuman."
Goldman, I think his name was the main bad guy in that.
So
It just sits in
ridiculous.
and they didn't know how to project the image, so it's supposed to be a flat screen, but it's clearly a giant box, and this giant character model's inside the box, just like because they didn't know how to. I guess they didn't have the technology back then to project the video. Yeah, it's one of the. You got to look it up on YouTube. It's one of the funniest, and once you notice it, it'll just crack you up. Because when it's from an angle, you can see like the side of his head and stuff. It's like that's not how TVs work. You're not. Anyway, that's a bit of a weird.
Did you like
tangent.
Did you like House of the Dead Overkill?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's one of
I
the
loved
hardest I've ever laughed at a game. Is if you haven't played that, you have to play it. It's the
I got it
funnest
on
game.
I got it on Wii, and I went and got one of these.
Ooh.
It was last year or the year before, and I sat
Yeah.
and played it, and I had such a good time because it was like a it was just like a Robert Rodriguez Tarantino kind of like just wild, stupid, funny, but absolutely insane and gory game. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. The ending of that is like insanity. You need to just
Yeah.
play it just for the ending. I don't want to spoil it, but the ending
Yeah,
is
yeah,
so out there, man. It's pretty funny, and
Yeah.
the characters in the game react to what's happening as you would honestly react. Like you, as a player, you're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is happening," and the in-game characters just kind of staring at each other, like, "What the fuck's going on here?" It's a masterpiece. Yeah,
I would like to see another House of the Dead like that, honestly.
yeah.
These days,
Yeah,
I
I'd
doubt
be-
it would
I'd be-
happen, but I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I'd just be happy for a collection of the original 3 games that could run
Yeah.
at like a decent resolution. Even if I use
Yeah.
my mouse, I don't care. But just
I
update
think the
them,
only-
'cause playing those games
what-
is impossible now.
Yeah, the only modern way you can play it is you can get, well, not number 1, but you can get 2 and 3 on the Wii, and that's
On the
it.
Wii.
So you can get
Yeah.
2 and 3 on the Wii, Overkill on the Wii. And the first one, the only way you can play that one is either an arcade machine or the remake.
PC or
so.
PC. It's on Saturn too, and the Saturn
Oh, is it?
port's pretty.
Oh, it is on
dreadful.
Saturn.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I actually have a Sega Saturn right over here behind my desk that I got last year.